Hi guys, thanks for checking in today. Well, Revlon recently came out with a whole line of their fill and blur products. I heard fill, I heard blur, had to check it out. So we have some primers, we have a concealer, and a foundation. So if you want to see my thoughts on this, just keep watching. Okay, so let me kind of tell you a little bit about this line. I have been trying this for several days now, and I've been wearing pretty much everything but the concealer. I'll get into the concealer a little bit when I go to apply it. And the way this works is they have two different primers. Yes, two different primers. This one, the Youth Fix Blur, Fill and Blur Primer, is just meant for your forehead. So yes, you have one primer that you get just for your forehead. So you're spending money just for the forehead. And the way this works is you have this little brush, which is basically like a nail polish. So you put that on the forehead, and then for the rest of your face, you have this, which, let me kind of get up closer here, and zoom in. You have 5 holes at the top, you have a pump at the bottom, and it comes out the top, and then it says you're supposed to use it to just kind of go all over your face, but I find that doesn't really get the product in. So this is what you're supposed to use on the rest of your face, and I'll show you how that works too. And then we have, of course, the foundation. You get 1 fluid ounce of this. I have the color 110 Ivory, and then we have the concealer, which is supposed to also fill and blur as well. It is the pump type that you pump up, and then you have the little sponge at the end. Now what I decided to do today, instead of using just their primers all over my face, is do 1/2 of the face with their primers and the other half of the face with my primers, and then go ahead and apply the foundation, concealer on one side and my concealers on the other side, and then we'll do a side-by-side comparison and see where it works out the best. Now before I continue, I actually want to insert this image that I took directly off of Revlon's site. This is 2 women that are supposedly unretouched photos before and after using their products. So I'm going to leave it up to you to decide after you see my before and afters if this has the same dramatic results that you see in their photos. So let's go ahead and get started. So I will go ahead and use the primer. You don't actually have to use a lot on this. And I'll zoom you in as we go along so you can go along and look with me and see what you think looks blurred. It does leave your skin feeling soft, but when you're spending close to $20 for something like this, I don't know. Okay, so again, you're supposed to just push up from the bottom. It looks, let me see that. That's what comes out. And it looks like little spaghetti things. To me, it looks like the Professional, but do you see how globby that is? And you really need to press it into your skin. And that one section right there, that's all I did. So it did not do anything down here. I'll have to do another shot of it. So you have to use a lot to do your whole face. I found it very drying to use under my eyes, so I skipped under my eyes. Okay, on the other side of my face, I'm going to do a little combo of things. I found this Base Magic online. I really like this, and it's like a paste. And what I do is I just take a little bit on my fingernail and put that on my skin, and I just push that in. So you can see I'm just using the tiniest bit compared to the Revlon kind. I'm going to take that down on my chin. Since I have a lot of texture down there. You guys wonder why I have these weird wrinkles in here? About 10 years ago, I was in a car accident as a passenger sitting behind the driver, and we were sideswiped by an 18-wheeler. And I injured my neck to the point where 3.5 years later, they finally decided to fuse one of the discs in my neck, which is why I have a scar right here. But I was pretty much wearing a neck brace every night while I slept, and that caused me to get those little wrinkles having a neck brace on. So, okay, and then just to go into those other areas where, oops, I didn't need to fill in pores, I'm going to take my Amazing Cosmetics primer and just gently go into those other areas, like around my eyes, like this, because it doesn't pill up on me like some other primers can do when they mix with other primers. Some primers, when they get mixed together, they just pill up on each other, and this one doesn't do that. Okay, we now have the primers on both sides of the face. What I need to do now is go in and do a little bit of color correcting under my eyes with my dark circles. So I'm going to use the Maybelline Master Camo color correcting palette here. And I am just going to take this peachy shade, put that on my fingers, and just go in and pat underneath. Now, since this is a thick foundation, I will be going in with just a sponge today. I will not be using a brush. Just does not work with a brush. So I'll be using my L'Oreal sponge, and I'm going to dispense some of this right onto a palette. I'll show you how thick that is. Kind of see right there. And it does take quite a bit of the product, so I'm going to put a generous amount on there. And probably have to add a little more, but let's get started. So I'm going to start on the side that has the Revlon primers on it. I'm going to dip right in there. You kind of have to work fast with this too, because I've discovered it has a tendency to kind of stick to itself and not blend out in some areas very well. We'll see if it happens today. I had one day where it just was a disaster. And let's go in on the side where I've used my primers and see what a difference this makes. See if you really need to go spend the extra money, because for me this is very expensive drugstore primers. Drugstore everything, because the foundation is $17.99. The primers are each $19.99. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head the cost of the concealer. I'll put it right here. Okay, so that is one layer. Let's zoom you in and I'll let you take a look at that. Right now it's very tacky, very sticky, and lightweight though. Very lightweight, but I'll zoom you in. Hopefully you can see this, but this is what I was talking about where I had some issues, where it just doesn't go into the pores very good at all. See how it seems to just sit right on the top and not sink in? It's just sitting there, and it's like it just doesn't want to go into my skin. If we look on my nose, I'm sorry, I'm looking in the mirror here. If we look on my nose, it's definitely being emphasized by the pores. On my forehead, what is in my hair there? That's somewhere in my hair. On my forehead, I don't feel like anything is blurred. On this side, it's just totally, you see how it is sitting right in that line right there. So as far as blurring goes, no, it decided to take up a camp right in that line right there. Whereas on this side, where I've used my own primers, still not as blurred, but it's not gone into the lines. Let's do that a little bit. Give it a chance to really get in there. Oh, yeah, now it's really settling into those lines. Still not here. Not doing good on my chin at all. This side, this side's doing a lot better as far as getting, settling into my face. It's not, it's gone into my skin, has not covered my broken capillaries there. Looks horrible on my nose. Ooh, what a mess. Okay, let's go in with the concealer and give that a try and see what we can fix. So, let's zoom me back out again. I did not enjoy this concealer when I used it last time. I'm going to go heavier handed with it and see if that helps. This is really yellow. This is the color 02 Light Pale. It's yellow. I'm not going to use it anywhere else but under my eyes. And then on the other side, I'm going to use my Tarte Shape Tape, and this is in the color Light. I'm going to be way off in my colors today. So I'm going to use two different sponges to blend these out. I'll go in with my L'Oreal sponge here. I went in with a very light coat last time, and this just like caked up and fell apart and got so splotchy looking. Oh, I couldn't make it work at all. I forgot who I was watching, but they went in with a heavier coat, and that seemed to work a little better. But I only used it that one time, and I got so mad at it that I won't say what I did with it. I got pretty mad at it. And then we're going with the Tarte side. Normally I would take concealer and I would fix any areas of my face, but today, because we are doing a little test here of this foundation, I'm not going to. I'm going to go with what we got. I will be setting everything with my Cover FX powder. Got a little bit too much on that eye. And then I will do as I always do in the same areas. I go around my nose, a little bit up on my forehead, and on my chin. Okay, let me go ahead and do the rest of my makeup, and I will be back shortly. Alright, this is the final look when I have completed all my makeup. Before we go in and start talking about everything, let me discuss what I have put on my face. For my blush today, I went in with the Wet n Wild Coloricon. Coloricon. This is in Apricot in the middle. For my blush, stuck with the Wet n Wild, it's the MegaGlow highlighting powder in Precious Petals. And then for my eyeshadow today, this is the Makeup Revolution. This is the Ultra Eye Contour Palette. Does that remind you of somebody else's? Maybe a Kat Von D? This is a great palette too, so for a fraction of the cost, I think it was like $15, so great little palette there. I set with the Urban Decay All Nighter palette, makeup setting spray. I used the new L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara, which I am really liking. And then still have the Wunderbrow on. I've been using that lately on my eyebrows. And of course I went in with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. As always, just love that stuff, gotta go in with that. So, lipstick today I used, what did I use? It's a little sample I got, which was the Manna. And it was a little lip gloss, and this is in the color Sienna. So, I'm a little shiny today. Okay, let me zoom you in and show you how lovely my skin looks today. Okay? Alright, we are zoomed in nice and close. Let's just start at the forehead and we'll work our way down. So once I got the powder put on, what had settled into these fine lines originally, I was able to kind of get those worked out. So I'll be a little bit closer for you there. So that kind of got worked out there. But as you can see, it still is just kind of sitting on top of my skin. It is not, it's still, even though I have set it with powder, it's just very tacky still. So it's still not setting very well, considering I have contour and bronzer and blush and highlighter on. It's just tacky. So it feels sticky on my face. I don't do sticky. I don't like that feeling. I just feel like it's going to melt off my face anytime soon. My pores are very emphasized, so their primer did not do my skin any favors whatsoever. As far as any blurring, I don't see the difference between their primer and mine. I don't see it really did any difference, considering this is a $1 one and this is a $20 one, that I had to use a separate one for here compared to the rest of my face. So I don't feel that it did a very good job of really getting into my pores on this side. Those are kind of emphasized. My mouth, especially around my mouth. I look like an old lady who smoked for 40 years. Isn't that lovely? But I just hate this foundation. It didn't work either way. I don't like the foundation at all. On my nose, it's just sitting right on top. It did not go into my skin. You can see all of my pores on my nose when you get close up. Now from a distance, yes, it looks good. When you get close up, it looks horrible. So I'm going to back you back out again. So since I have worn this foundation and these primers on my skin, gosh, this is like my 6th time now. I can tell you, I just can't stand it. I really can't. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the way it wears. It's not long-lasting whatsoever. I had one day where I just had this entire side of my face. I could not get it to blend. It just like caked and globbed onto. It wasn't even dry skin. I don't know what was going on, but it just sat there and would not blend, and I would wipe it off and start over, and it just had a horrible time trying to blend in for some reason in this one area of my face. And it wasn't even like it stayed in the same area and did it. It would be like here it would do it, and then it was there, and then it was up here. So it was something about my skin that day, for whatever reason, it just didn't blend in whatsoever. And I just wiped it all off, and I started over with a totally different foundation. And then a couple days later, I had it happen on this part of my face, and then up in here it did it too. So it was almost like it just like had a big glob of something in it that came out that just didn't want to blend. It's hard to describe, but it just looked horrible. Not a good fan of this one at all. So this is a huge pass. This whole line of products is a pass. When it gets to the concealer, putting more on was helpful. It's funny because as yellow as that was, it didn't turn out looking yellow under my eye. So again, this is the Revlon side. This is the Tarte Shape Tape. You can see the darkness under my eyes compared to the Tarte. Looks a lot better though. So I'll go with my Tarte still. So that is my wrap up. That's my thoughts. I would say pass. Not a fan. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Love you guys. And until next time, bye-bye.